Okay, in this video we're checking out the iFlight MegaBee. This is basically the very similar to the original Cinewhoop. What I guess a lot of people will say is a clone of the Squirt or the Squirt V2 that was designed by Shen Drones. And this is very similar for sure. Obviously based on 3-inch props and 3D printed ducts. There's a lot of differences here. I noticed for one thing on the Squirt there's a brace here between the front and back motors on the frame. The frame is a little bit shorter, so this camera does sit further back. So this is the front here. The camera sits further back here. I don't know if that would make much of a difference in terms of protecting the camera. That seems totally fine here. It does move the GoPro part a little bit more forward. Yeah, so it's still a 3-inch frame here. You have these little 3D printed feet that you can, I think these are also included, and of course, you know, with the ducts here being connected, this little extension piece here is to help mount that duct. Now, I obviously don't have the Squirt, so I can't do any comparisons, but at least from pictures I've seen, it does seem like the duct's a little bit different in the way it's mounted with the extra bracing here and everything like that, so there's definitely some differences, but yeah, it's definitely very similar to the Squirt. And one of the reasons why I never got around to building a Squirt and doing a review, I think a lot of people did ask me to do a review on that, is I just don't have the time. And it was on my list of getting a project to get around to eventually. I just never got around to it. And then this showed up, and I'm like, well, let's see how this does. And you know, I have no way of comparing it to the Squirt or how that performs, but this seems to perform totally fine for what is its intended use. This is not going to be for racing. This is for gathering nice, smooth, high definition or 4K footage in small spaces, and I think this performs that job just fine. Now, I don't have a GoPro Hero 7 Black. I have the Osmo action camera set, and this fits in here no problem as well. Obviously this mount is not really designed for this camera, but this does fit in here and to hold it securely, it's not an issue. So you can reuse this mount if you want for this camera. That does fit in there just fine. One of the things I did ask iFlight to do is to redesign the mount because it's a fixed angle. It's about 25 degrees. And I think that's a little bit too much, but I think what would be better is if there was an adjustable mount. So they are going to address that. I think an adjustable mount will be coming out eventually. And then the other thing I suggested to them is change these ducts here from this, I think it's like a PLA type material, to maybe something that's more like TPU or a flexible material. So just, I mean, obviously I think in a pretty hard crash, this duct is probably going to break. And then if you're also wondering if these ducts are usable on the Squirts, I don't think that's the case. I don't think that their parts are compatible. So, but if someone does know, if I'm mistaken on that, let me know in the comments below. I can share that with others, but pretty sure the ducts are not interchangeable between the two different models. Now, in terms of the parts and components in here, all pretty solid, I think. The motors are, these are new. I haven't actually seen these before. These are the 1408 Zing motors. So this is a new motor from the Zing line from iFlight, and it's a 1408 at 3600 kV. It's fairly notchy, and they're using these Dow 3-inch props here. They're using their own iFlight micro stack here. It's a 20x20 stack with a 4-in-1 35 amp EAC F4 flight controller and power switchable video transmitter. Also did a review on that as well. I'll put a link to that video down in the description. Yeah, and then we have back here, Fox here Lollipop 3 stubby antenna. This one is the XM Plus version. Does come with several other receiver versions. If you check out their site, you'll see which ones are available. They pretty much have everything. And then we have the Caddx Ratel camera here with the 2.1mm lens. And this is actually the updated 2.1mm lens. I haven't actually even had a chance to review. I have actually this camera, and I haven't actually put a video up on the new lens of this Ratel camera, but it's a very nice image, and I think that they fixed the distortion issues from the original 2.1mm. So all very nice components. Yeah, I would say that if you built something equivalent on the Squirt, it would probably cost more. I've seen other builds out there where people actually build it and then they try and sell pre-built ones. And yeah, if you see anyone selling a squirt that they're selling for pre-built for the same price as this, which is about $270, yeah, let me know in the comments below. I couldn't find any. Generally, I was finding prices well above the 350 to 450 mark for things that are pre-built. Obviously, you can get ones that are been used for a while. Those are going to be a little less, but this is brand new, pre-built, and I just used the factory tuning as well. There's no tuning required for this. Basically, just bound up the receiver and stuck in my camera and went and flew it. And yeah, you'll see the footage from the Osmo Action. Very nice, smooth 4K footage. The battery I'm using here is also an iFlight battery. It's a 4S850. It fits on here very nicely, no problem. You could probably go with even a bigger one if you wanted to. I'd say anything like 1,000 or even 1,300 milliamp hour force should be totally fine on this setup. And obviously we're not going for maximum performance or speed. So if you want more flight time, from like, I think I was getting roughly 3 minutes on the 850. If you want to get a little bit more, go to bigger batteries, totally fine. It's just, obviously it's just still going to fly pretty good, just a little bit slower, and you're going to need just a little bit more throttle so you move it around. But yeah, it totally flies totally fine. So anyway, I'm overall very happy with this. I think it does a good job for what it's intended for. If you got a Hero 7 or an Osmo Action, some sort of action camera up here, and you want to get nice footage, obviously something bigger. The reason people would go for something like this is they want to get much better footage than, say, from a Caddx turtle, for example, on some of the other really tiny micro Cinewhoops. And this is kind of the path that they're going if you're definitely looking for something like GoPro type footage. Obviously, this isn't going to be for everybody. Of those of you guys that would prefer building, obviously, you could go and get a squirt frame and build that, or even get this frame and build it if you want. I'm not sure exactly what the price differences are in the frames, but for those of you guys that maybe aren't so confident in building, because it's not the most easiest, simplest build, and you maybe don't have time, and you want to save a little bit of money because it does cost a little bit less, I think, over comparable builds. Yeah, check this one out. I would recommend it. It's a good price and value for what you get and for what it does. So if you're looking to get into the Cinewhoop game, maybe you've seen some pretty cool videos out there of people with these things in some pretty kind of unusual places. Yeah, check it out. I'll have all the links that I mentioned down in the description below. And here's some more footage for you guys, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.